So what's the best portable power station for around 250 bucks? Let's talk about it. What up? This is I from askivesolar, and I've been thinking about this for quite some time. The best power station or the best budget power station for around 250 bucks. That's a range, and you'll see why. So there are two devices that come to mind for me. Let's just cut to the chase. They are the GoLabs and the Energizer P320, I believe. The GoLabs is the R300. Before I get into some caveats, let me just say that I feel like these devices are kind of the same. They have the same screen. They have a similar port layout. They have similar functionalities. They share a lot of similarities, but the prices are a little different. So let's talk about some of the caveats and the differences. First, let's talk about the GoLabs R300. I've done a couple videos on it, comparing it to a device and just talking about it overall. This device approximate is a 300 watt hour capacity battery. It has about a 300 watt inverter. It has a 60 watt bidirectional USB-C port. That port and the barrel connector, which is 5521, they both can take in about 60 watts. The barrel is for solar, the PD port is for charging from whatever you charge from using USB-C. Now, the interesting thing is you can't dual charge on this device. You actually can't dual charge on the Energizer either. When you're charging from the barrel connector, you can't charge from USB-C. And when you're charging from C, you can't charge from the other one. Now, when it's being charged from solar, you can't use the 60 watt port, but it has a 30 watt port, a USB-C PD port that you can use. So that's kind of cool. It lists at $240 now. It used to list at $299, but often had a $100 off coupon. It typically sits around $240, and then it often drops down to $199. Now, there was a coupon floating around about a couple weeks ago from the time of this recording that had it down to about $165 or $169. So that was interesting. But for $199, you can't really beat getting 300 watt hours capacity of battery. That's really nice. It does have some quirks. The USB ports require you to plug in your cable to your device first, and then you plug your cable into the power station in order for it to get power. Sometimes it works in a weird way, and then sometimes it requires that exact process. It has to be plugged into the device first, and then you plug it into the ports. It's weird, right? As far as I'm concerned, you can't turn the beep off on that thing. The reason why I mentioned that, the Energizer can turn the beep off. So let's talk about this Energizer P320, which at the time of this recording is listed at $309 with a $60 off coupon. That pretty much matches the price that it kind of was introduced at, which was $250. It was a really good price for what you've got, considering some little caveats. Now, does this make it edge out the R300? You're gonna have to be the judge, but just think about it from this perspective. So that one has a 100 watt USB-C PD bidirectional port. Charging from 100 watts of USB-C is crazy. I love it. I'm a fan of it. It also cannot dual charge, which sucks. It also has the same type of power dynamic where if you're charging from USB-C, you can't use the barrel connector. If you're charging from the barrel connector, you can't use that 100 watt USB-C. But the thing that's different about this one, it's kind of like it took the GoLabs and took it a step further. It went 100 watt, and then the extra port is a 60 watt, not bi-directional. It's just a 60 watt USB-C PD port, and it has some other USB ports. Same watt hour capacity, pretty much the same inverter capacity, pretty much the same screen, the same little weird watts output input difference instead of showing actual watts out and watts in. So they're pretty much the same device. What you have to ask yourself is those slight bumps worth an extra $50? And then when they charge, they sell it for $310. I don't know about that one. Now, there are some other considerations and some other devices that kind of get an honorable mention for me. When you start to consider spending $250 for the Energizer, right? Think about the fact that the EcoFlow River base model has been on sale for as low as $250. It does not happen often. Actually, I think Tech Made Easy had a post about it being $250 recently. I went to check that to verify, and it was back up to its $299 price point. So it you gotta keep an eye on it. The cheapest I've seen it on the regular is $279. That happens a few times a year for sure. So you think about that in contrast to the $250 for the Energizer. Both of them have the ability to charge at 60 watts. They're pretty much the same device. My apologies if I omitted that. The Energizer can charge at up to 200 watts, has a 600 watt inverter, has a comparable like 293 watt hour capacity battery. It has one USB-C port, not bi-directional. I don't like that about it. I wish it charged over USB-C because options is nice. And it also has the ability to do some other things, like it has a fancy screen. You can control it via an app and all that jazz. So is it worth it to jump up to $280 for the EcoFlow? Now, another thing that kind of puts a spin on things, you're going to spend $250 on the Energizer. Right now, the Milin is on sale for $250. I would consider the Milin to be a kind of off the beaten path device, which is not necessarily a major name brand. But when you think about that GoLabs is off the beaten path. But people spoke very highly of it, and it was $200. That's why I decided to pull the trigger. That Milin kind of blows everything out of the water as far as specs, but the question we have to ask is, will it work a year from now? So it has a 600 some odd watt hour capacity battery. It has a 600 watt inverter. It can charge from solar at 120 watts. It has a 100 watt USB-C PD bi-directional port. I mean, this thing is just, it's pretty freaking amazing for $250. And I've been talking to one of my viewers about which one they should get. And I've been kind of weighing this back and forth. And it really is about your risk tolerance as it relates to thinking about the Milin. So I don't know what you, I don't know where you go from there. Just a quick note that best budget does not mean cheapest. There are plenty cheap devices out there. One that comes to mind is just a Ctechi power station. It's $179 with a $20 off coupon, I believe. That one has 240 watt hours power capacity. It has a bi-directional USB-C PD port, but the screen is not as useful as the GoLabs. It charges from 60 watts of solar. So it's a very comparable device. It's a little more compact and maybe ideal for you guys who want to kind of throw it in a backpack and all that jazz, but it's not the best budget, but it is a cheaper one. So that's something to consider as well. And it's also important to note that all of these devices come with the MC4 cable, and they have the ability to be charged and discharged at the same time via all the ports, including the AC, which the industry likes to call pass-through charging, but that's a whole nother thing. Which device are you ultimately drawn to? I'll have links to all of them down in the comments below. If you click those links and buy something, your boy gets a few coins, so I appreciate that. Let me know if you have any questions. I'll answer them in the comments below as well. It is I, holla.